have colors on them, or is that new?
They do look a little different. Mine do anyway.
I wonder if there was an update. Somebody should test roll.
.66667.
Hello and welcome! We are Appalachian Dragons. This is where me and my favorite backwoods bastards get together and we like to play some Dungeons and motherfucking Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
I was not sure what I was looking at there for a second, Brandon. I was concerned. Tonight, we are on session 22 of our campaign. We don't have any announcements for you, but we do want to let you know that we have Cyberpunk in the work on the near horizon. Probably a little over a month or so, we will be getting into that. So stay tuned for some Cyberpunk Red antics. Very excited about that. We've also just uploaded our one of our playtesting sessions, so you can check that out on our YouTube page. And yeah, fun shit. Where we last left off, the Lords of Nightstone were entangled with a Dracolich in the swamp, and had managed to finally overcome it with a very impressive strike by Argonauts, dealing, I think, just over 150 damage. I did the math on it earlier.
Oh, damn.
And an impressive double fucking crit. Ben mopped the floor with his bag of bones and beat it into splinters. The party gathered up the little bit of treasure that they could find, and began to head back to a secret base camp that Saphine and the Gemstone Dragons had established. Upon arriving, they found a warded area that prevented them or their ship from passing through, and would not open until the password was spoken. Subtle fudge. The illusion faded, revealing just a small collection of tents, but upon inspection, Devos quickly came to realize that they were all their own sort of demiplane, much larger on the inside, and had entire armies housed within these small tents. He briefly touched base with his own forces of Nightstone, as well as Torum Breck, the second in command of the Nightstone Guard, before they made their way to the main war tent. They met several familiar faces there, some allies, some old enemies, some not sure, really. Among those being Kella Darkhope, a Zentarum agent that the party has clashed with, I think, thrice now, and Old Cloth himself in disguise in his human form. The party worked with the gathered figures to make a strategy for their approach on the warfront, and began mobilizing their troops. When we last left off, the party had just finished speaking to a few particular NPC. I believe we're going to pick up there. Oh, they did learn one particular thing. The Draakhorn shot that each of these ships has aboard it, a powerful anti-dragon weapon. It could be a useful item in their endeavors. They also made 2 particular points of order for themselves. One, to take down the Draakhorn and allow the dragons to be able to actually approach the Well of Dragons, as well as deal with one of the airships, the Green Wing, on their way back. Without further ado, we're going to dive into tonight's session of Tyranny of Flagons! And we are back. As we resume our session, we're going to pick up in the war tent. The general populace has just been dismissed. Most of the room scatters and begins to head to their tents to mobilize their battalions. You will all recall that the actual attack will be at dawn tomorrow morning. They need a few hours to get their troops in position, and they begin mobilizing them immediately. A few familiar faces approach you, one of them being Tabitha and Tajin, who tell you that they are heading to the ship to inform the crew of their plan. They are going to take off at dusk and then should be in position by sunrise. And they inform you that they will hold the Draakhorn shot until given the command expressly by Arcanauts. So that particular shot you will not need to, you will have to verbalize when you want them to use it. But this keeps it in your control. As you are going about your business, they also escort Sonder with them. Sonder being the cultist who is hiding aboard the ship when you received it. And he says, listen, I don't want to go back into the brig. I have been a great help, and I would appreciate a little bit more leniency. I'm a cannoneer, I can help you. He seems to be pleading for his freedom.
Man.
Absolutely not.
Oh, doesn't mercy violate Arcanauts' vow?
No.
Yes, actually, if showing mercy to my enemies breaks my vow, so absolutely the fuck not.
He will say.
I would argue that he's maybe not necessarily an enemy, or at least wasn't at the time. Maybe he was affiliated with them, but did he do anything to you? There are gray areas.
You ever heard of a guy named Donovan?
Goldbrand's have half a mind just to kill him. It uncomplicates the matter significantly.
Anybody who threatens the balance of draconic harmony or whatever is my enemy.
So my second thought was we let him go and do, but we stick someone to him. If he's going to be a cannoneer, whoever's on the ship actually running the cannons has to watch him. Or we just kill him. Those are my two. I'm 50-50.
Toss him overboard.
He hears you all discussing this. And he seems kind of shaken. Y'all don't seem to have much of a regard for his life or well-being, which is the reason he left the Cult of the Dragon to begin with. Anyone who wants to can make an insight check. Yeah.
Bad roll, Chris.
1 second.
Oh boy.
Nice warm blanket, a pillow. Just, you can't touch the firearms.
You cut out for just a second there. I heard blanket pillow firearms.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I was saying, don't be mean to them. Like, let's give them a nice, comfortable stay, a warm blanket, fluffy pillow, a whole chicken, dead, cooked, not live to sacrifice. But just keep them away from the firearms.
I think that Yuan will pick up on. He is. He left the Cult of the Dragon because they sent him essentially on a suicide mission. They thought they had some chance at getting Cloth to join them, and sent him into the lion's den, as it were. And that has caused him to shake in his faith with the Cult of the Dragon. I think with a 20, you're going to get the idea that overly harsh treatment might not help you in the long run. This guy still has potentially knowledge that can assist you in your approach. You know that you still have to sneak the ship in, and doing that without him might be slightly more difficult. Yeah, I think that would be good for a 20.
Okay. I'll look at everyone and say, yes, I know I'm the voice of reason. Always have been, right? Anyway,
Moral
he could
compass.
still be useful. Tossing him out here nets us nothing, but keeping him aboard at least potentially nets us more information. Maybe he knows the inner workings of the other ships. Maybe he could help us ascertain where the other Drakesbane shots are and acquire a few more on our way through. I say we give him a moment to plead his case, hear him out, and see where that takes us.
Taking your cue, he will say, yeah, I can
Gay.
help. I want to help. Listen, the Cult of the Dragon, they've twisted my mind for so long, and it wasn't until I had so much time to myself to really process it that I understood exactly what they were asking of me. I don't want to be a part of this. If you were to turn me out of the camp now, I would not go to them. But I want to fight against them. I want to try to make this right.
I hold my hand up and I look at him and I say, I see a bit of myself in you, or at least a version of me that existed semi-recently. I feel everyone deserves a chance to attempt to right wrongs that they have created, brought upon themselves. I will vouch for you as long as you continue to make yourself of worth.
What say the rest of you, Lord?
I'll be honest, Yuan vouching for him doesn't do much for me. No, I'm kidding.
I look at him like,
I like the
between
idea.
you and I, you can kick that guy square in the balls later and I won't say a word.
I'll consider it.
Well, I suppose if you do renounce the old cause and fight with ours, I guess there is kind of a loophole there.
He'll say,
I like to think for
Okay.
maybe the first time in months since y'all been with Golbrand, he looks at him, but actually looks at him. Doesn't look past him or to the side of him, looks at him. He says, I just want you to understand that if you are not being truthful with us, if you do any harm to any of us, me and him, he'll point to Ark, are coming to kill you. And so far, nothing has stopped us yet.
Ark will kind of growl and a little fire will shoot out of his mouth.
why don't you roll a intimidation check? I'll either say Gold can roll with advantage, or you could each roll an independent one.
Go ahead and roll one, Ben.
Actually-
Mine's garbage. Since I gotta roll one too.
Well, you're the one doing most of the talking, so you're gonna roll one regardless.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. But I want Ben to roll the other one, because that's still going to be much better than giving me advantage.
Yeah. His intimidation
Come on.
is strong. It's pretty stiff.
I don't even try to threaten him. I just want to make sure he understands that he do wrong, I am going to come kill him.
My-
Or come with me.
I always roll with advantage anyway.
Yeah, very solid. Yeah, he nods his head, and after a little bit of piss runs down his leg, he quickly scampers off with Talitha and Tajin. Tajin will nod his head and say, "I will have Jesse keep a close eye on it. At the very least, perhaps we can have some use of him yet. At the very least, he can help powder the cannon. And unless either of you have anything else for Talitha or Tajin, they both make their way out with Sonder.
Welcome to the crew, fresh meat.
Fucking been on this ship longer than any of y'all gets demoted immediately. Love it. Fantastic. I think as these people are starting to leave the tent from other factions, Thara, who is a member of the Emerald Enclave, will stop to you, Goldbrand, and say, "Oh, by the way, Mr. Bluebear, Turlang wanted to speak with you. Said he saw something at the Council of Waterdeep that he wanted to ask you about."
Oh, boys. No, Goldbrand didn't say that. Goldbrand will go, to where Turling is if he's not there, and look in his general direction.
You exit the tent, and she leads you over to the Emerald Enclave's tent, which, upon entering, appears almost as if more forest than a simple tent. It looks like it goes on forever. It's kind of a little trippy. But you do see Turlang positioned in the center of the area. You do see several members of the Emerald Enclave here, druids and centaurs and wildmen and rangers and just various people who fight for the natural world. And as you approach, Turlang will say, "Well met, Blue Bear. It has been quite some time since last we met."
It has. I'm surprised you noticed. It's my understanding time's not quite the same for all of you.
We tend to move in slower circles. Time can be a tricky thing for many entities. I noticed upon your belt something I do not believe belongs to you.
Perhaps not in slower circles, but by the circles of the small folk, it is rightfully mine. I did not take it by force.
He will nod his head and say,
Would you like to see it?
"That is..." He nods his head.
Goran will present it to you. I'll chop him down if it takes
you
it.
remove-
Scared.
No. You remove Argalas's sickle. And see that Thara recognizes it as well. And says, or rather, Turling says, "Ah, I thought it was familiar. This is interesting. When you live as long as we do, you tend to find certain things have a way of re-emerging after time. This is a precious item. Brought many of us in this room to sentience." And he'll nod to Lipperloss, the tree from Goldenfield, which was awoken by Argalas with this very sickle. You have made bold moves within the High Forest. I felt as the grandfather tree's sapling was awakened within Stonestand. I also felt as the Shriekwood became corrupted these last few years. Your actions have ripples that will outlive you, but that I will come to. While I am not your master, I would ask that, should we survive, I believe you owe it to the High Forest to try and return it to its previous state. The Shriekwood, at least.
Nigger knows how to do that.
God, is that you know much more than I would have thought possible for an Utgard. I do not say this to belittle your people. Utgard are tremendously wise. But you are more gifted in the ways of magic than many of them.
It's 'cause I'm old.
I understand.
I have lived like twice as long as the average youth guard.
Yeah. Maybe a little higher than twice. With current life expectancy. Well, to that degree, it has gotten better since they're not necessarily constantly at war with each other. They've been on slightly better terms since the Battle of Bane. Regardless, Turling will. I thank you. You have made many ripples in this world. Let's hope the ones you make today will be more pleasant to look upon.
You don't approve of the spree over Stone Stamp.
No, quite the contrary. We hold Junior in a rather sweet regard. He has long been a part of this forest and has been no stranger to me. You just gave him the ability to communicate with more, greater capability.
I'll see what I can do about the forest. Goldburn also wants to ask about the Half-Forest. Goldburn, I don't think it's his fault, but druids fix things like that, so he's good. Do you know anything about, and he will describe the woman assaulting the sickle? Was it a gnome? It was an older woman in Waterdeep.
She was a gnomish woman. Her name was Ariana, if I'm not mistaken. Ariana's Popcare. Yeah, you say her name, and he nods his head, and he will say, yes, she was a compatriot of Argalas for a time. Quite a wise woman. Visits every few years. Makes a pilgrimage to Shadowtop.
Well, tell her I said thank you for the sickles next time you see hers.
His head. As you wish, Ube.
Goldbrand leaves. He nods.
Yeah.
You know, like Goldbrand's the type in my head. He just turns and leaves. He doesn't say bye. He doesn't like excuse. He just turns.
Yeah.
And
Irish goodbye.
yeah.
Yeah, you pop on out. While Goldbrand is gone, I think that Davos, Integrity approaches you. Integrity, yeah. He is out of he being out of the hells and a little more patched up now. You know, he still has a few wounds that are perhaps bandaged, and some that are shiny scars that have been recently healed. He's thinner than he was before the hells, obviously. But now he wears his armor. He's got sturdy greaves and a breastplate, thick helm that's fitted snugly around his horns, and bears the mark of Lathander, the blazing sun. He says, Captain Davos, I would hope that we could speak for a moment.
Of course.
Wanted to report to you that the Knights of the Order of the Aster are ready to march, and will be deploying soon with the Order of the Gauntlet. I do also want to ask if you have any additional orders, sir. Any special commands?
Protect Bergen with your life.
He'll nod his head. Many of the men feel the same way, sir. I believe he will be the last in this battlefield to fall. Which will be nice, as he will pick many of us back up onto our feet.
I'm sure that would be the case.
I do want to thank you again for freeing me from that God's forsaken prison. I owe everything to you, and by extension, the Morning Lord, but as I am in such debt to you, I pray that you will forgive me for the transgression that I'm about to commit. I have been ordered to keep information from you, but it is an order I cannot abide.
Who delivered the order?
A superior. You see, last night.
Out with it, you worm.
Well, last night, nightmares stirred me, as they have since I've escaped the hells, but I stepped out for a bit of air and I saw someone trying to steal our horses. I, of course, did as I was trained and immediately punched him in the kidney. It proved quite effective, but unfortunately I struck not a foe, but a friend. A superior. Your father. He said that...
You said he punched him in the kidney?
Yeah, you know that integrity as a monk, this is how I'm flavoring a stunning strike. You know, he came up and popped him and just to incapacitate him for a second.
Uh-huh.
Integrity punched Arenborg. He will say,
And I was gonna say, and Erenbor was the one who told you not to tell me?
yes. He said that he wasn't going to march with us. He was sick with the guilt, but he couldn't just wait around for death to take him. He commanded me to return to the tent and not to speak a word of it to anyone, but especially not to you. He said that he was too ashamed to face you, that he couldn't let you see him as a deserter. You should also know that he did steal more than just the horse, sir. There was an amulet around his neck, not unlike the one your friend wears there. And he points to Yuan's necklace of proof against detection, I believe is what it's called.
Yes.
I'm torn between chasing after him myself. It would go against the greater goal. Let's see. I'm trying to think if he would have a sending stone.
I would point out my necklace and say, if he has one of these, good luck finding him. I mean, you could try to track him, but normal means won't find him, that's for certain.
That's what I was afraid of.
He's protected from divination magic as a whole. So if you were to try descending him, mechanically it would not work. It's an unusual circumstance, for sure. It doesn't sound...
Yeah, I have a little bit of a weird question. Do I think this is integrity?
You can certainly roll it in.
Thanks.
Bill?
I'm sus. This
He
this,
certainly can, huh?
Either this isn't integrity or that wasn't Erenbor. Have both crossed my mind.
Integrity will say, with a 27, excuse me, you gather this is integrity. He is telling the truth to the fullest of his knowledge and capabilities, as always. You do not see Erenbor in the camp if you were to search for him. If you ask people of his location, they will tell you they saw him, perhaps dinner the night before, but he was not there when they awoke. Integrity will, I apologize for being the bearer of bad news. It seemed like something was weighing heavily on him. I do not know. But regardless, the rest of the Knights of the Aster stand ready. We shall strike true with the Founder's might.
You did well, Integrity. I'm glad that you went against your oath, but no harm shall come of that.
He nods his head and perhaps breathes a sigh of relief. Thank God I'm about to say 25 Hail Marys with, the Lathander and equivalent. He bows his head and makes his way out of the tent. And soon you realize that it is just the 6 or so of you. 5, yeah, I don't think anybody's with you from the party, and Safine. She'll actually walk up behind Integrity, and she pinches her fingers at the top of the flap, and as she pulls it down, it does not zip, but the very fabric seals. There's no entrance whatsoever. She says, well, boys, I appreciate your help in our tactical planning. Always good to have a sharp pair of eyes around. The other gemstones have been busy, of course, searching for obsidian, but we've unfortunately had little luck. We are desperate to get him back, of course, and we've elected to share everything we can with you to see if there's something that we've overlooked. Fresh perspective. Now that you have your masks, those are more than just stylish accessories. You see, the Gemstone Dragon, we have a connection that allows us to sense each other's presence and speak to each other effortlessly, as long as we're on the same plane of existence. And ever since we've made your masks, we've been able to sense you in much the same way. The dragons in reality are scattered across the continent right now, but I'd like to try and help you all tap into our network, as it were, to speak with us. If you're willing to humor me for a minute.
Very well.
You hear within your heads Safine's voice as she tells you to close your eyes, take a deep breath in, clear your mind, and listen not with your ears, but with your very being, your core. Let my thoughts guide you, and follow it as you would a voice in the dark. I need everyone to roll a mental check, a charisma, wisdom, or intelligence check. You are going to roll with advantage.
Check. Okay.
Oh, that's technically a saving throw, Barbara, but I'll let you keep the 19. That's super solid.
Well.
Yeah, I realized that after I hit it and I saw it, and I'm like, whoops.
I still rolled awful.
1, 2.
I got a 9 on charisma.
9. Arcanauts, charisma, intelligence, or wisdom?
Un momento. Let's see here.
Okay.
Yeah, well, there they are. Yeah, 7.
Barbara, you are there, perhaps a little more restless than the rest of the party, just in your natural way. You almost feel like after a couple of minutes go by that you're wasting your time. And then you see a dim glow. You see a little pink-purple light in the darkness. And then another springs to life. And another, and another, and another, until all around you, they form a crystal cave. As you regard the space, you see Safine in her natural draconic form. Resplendent, gleaming sapphire scales shining in the ethereal light of this cave. You also see Valatheandra, aka Hot Stuff, curled up in the corner, similarly glowing in this environment. Before long, Golbran, you notice a green spark that guides you into this cave as well, and you see Vertizellen, the Emerald Dragon. And Davos, you see the golden gems of Topaz as you find Felgolis. And Arcanox, you see the crystals of Nissa as they round out this cavern.
Yeah, it's the best girl.
And Josh, you also find your way through following these ethereal crystal lights. Uh, Safine looks you all over with a stern but approving smile and says, well, boys, it's finally time to bring you into the loop. Nissa, why don't you start us off? Nissa will say, you know, of course, that 7 years ago, when you slew Algodix and restored the Ruby Dragon, he crafted the Obsidian Dragon Egg and entrusted it into our care. This is an honor that we hold sacred. This is the first gemstone hatchling in a millennium. His life is more precious to us than words can say. We cloistered him away in a heavily warded lair deep within the Underdark, far beneath the levels still inhabitable by humanoids. Valapiandra. It needed to be kept incredibly hot, so we nested it in the lava flows deep within the crust. The gemstone dragons, we would take turns watching the egg and keeping it safe, sometimes for a few days, sometimes months at a time. Year in and year out, this was the routine. And now only 3 days ago, after years of inactivity, when the Draakhorn sounded, the egg hatched. I was watching over him when it happened, and I immediately contacted Safine. After I arrived, we brought the wormling within a demi-plane. For safekeeping. I did my best to make him feel comfortable and not confined. Pumped quite a bit of extra juice into there just to make it a habitat for him, spacious. Allow us to be in our natural forms with him and give him room to explore and play. I didn't have the heart to keep him underground, even artificially, so I fashioned the demi-plane to resemble one of my favorite spots, a particular ridge of the Star Mountains, right by a spring and a waterfall. It overlooks miles of the high forest in a way that looks almost as if a sea of trees. Not to mention that the volcanic activity meant we could teach him how to find pockets of magma to warm himself in. Bogowish will chirp up. From the second he was born, the gemstone dragons watched over him constantly, interacting with the young worm and marveling at his intelligence and inquisitiveness. He could fly after just a few hours, which, while not necessarily unheard of, is still quite exceptional. He spoke in Draconic, as all wormlings do. Dragons, of course, inherit their knowledge from ancestors. It comes to us naturally when we need it most. But even then, he did pick up on telepathic communication rather swiftly. Hard to say if this is as common. It's been a long, long time since there have been a gemstone hatchling. But he was a big one, especially from Deandra will kind of cock her head and look to him and say, perhaps that was perspective, my halfling friend. He seemed above average, actually, for gemstone dragons. Douglas, you're daft if you think I was going to take my shift worm-sitting as a halfling. The big bugger might have tried to eat me. If that's average, you gemstone lot must be huge right from the get-go. It was at least 8 feet, snout to tail. Safine will say, perhaps you've been overcompensating for too long? He wasn't even half that. More than half. But he couldn't have been more than 6 at the most. Verdi Zelen, Vogelis is closer than any of you, I'm afraid. I'd say he was nearly 10 feet when I left to join you all at the council. I did think of him as a bit larger, but so was I in my youth. And I think you watch the realization come over Safine that Valapiandra, the one who watched him first, thinks him to be the smallest, and Verdi Zelen, the one who watched him last, thinks him to be the biggest. And it occurs to her that he is aging, or growing at least, exceptionally quick. By the time the Council of Waterdeep occurred, it had been not even 24 hours since his birth. And his size had grown nearly 5 times over in that time frame. Safine stutters a bit, And to complicate matters, he showed exceptional magical potential. His abilities seemed functionally psionic, but arcane in execution. For example, he wouldn't tap into telepathy like we would use, but he would communicate much in the way that you might use message. And he was not telekinetic, but could do things in a similar nature of mage hand. Instead of teleporting, Misty Step and the like. It's almost as if he doesn't quite seem to be on the same wavelength as the rest of us. We can't read him the way that we can read each other. We could track each other across the globe using our connection, but he just doesn't seem to be part of it. At least from we can tell, or not yet, anyway. This predilection to Arcana might be due to the fact that he carries a bit of Sardi or Spark, or lingering magic from the Nightstone, or Donovan. Perhaps it's just the specialty of magical dragon, of obsidian dragons. He is the first of his kind, after all. When it came time for the Council of Waterdeep, we left them with the chamber, guarded by our gemstalkers, of course. We weren't going to leave him unattended. And after the meeting, and we created the gemstone masks, we returned to discover that he had vanished. The gemstalkers reported that he simply disappeared. Now, boys, you know that I am thorough. I've checked all my wards. I have looked through my alarms and made sure that there were absolutely no intruders or abductors. We thought at first that he was simply invisible, hiding, but we've thoroughly vetted the demiplanes for any signs of that and unfortunately come up empty-handed. We returned to where he was hatched and searched that area, but he's nowhere to be found. We've been searching high and low and attempting to scry on him, but everything thus far has been unsuccessful. We were doing our best to keep up the search while not abandoning the responsibilities in the march on the Well of Dragon. Bertie Zellen, well, after combing the hatching grounds, became evident in its futility. I began to consider the nature of his escape. There are very few ways to remove oneself from the demiplane. You cannot simply teleport yourself out, but only methods we can reason are exceptionally powerful arcana. Even the easiest message is a 7th circle spell, plane shift. But that got me thinking, if that was his method of escape, he would have to have a destination. But we found no trace of him ever returning to the hatching. Then the thought occurred to me of his interest in the surroundings of the demiplane we had stored him. The way I believe that he began to pick up that something was not quite right. The way we kept him corralled in a certain area. I reasoned that if he were to plane shift, the only place he would go would be the only one he knew. The actual Star Mounts. I went there immediately, and sure enough, I picked up a scent. Unfortunately, as you recall, the Draakhorn sounded while we were at the council, and he must have been at the Star Mounts when this occurred. His trail led toward the southeast, toward the Horn. Belgalissa. Well, wait! You've been sitting on that intelligence this whole time. We could have monitored the region and intercepted him, ran him down with our superior speed and arcane abilities. I'm certain that Verdi Zellen made the best call with the information he had. Allow him to finish, Felgalis. Verdi Zellen will resume. The very same thought had occurred to me, my topaz friend. But I realized that only after flying for an hour, he altered his course. He turned sharply to head westward, over the Shriekwood. I am going to temporarily bump you guys to a different map. You want to go to about the middle. You'll actually see the token of Verdi Zellen over in this direction. And he will say, he'll say, He was initially on the southeastern part of the Star Mounts, and then began to head toward the stone. But after that time, he began to head westward, over the Shriekwood. But oddly enough, after only a few hours in that direction, he altered course again, this time heading more north. It seemed that he stayed in the Star Mounts for a time, perhaps to rest, but the following day he resumed the westward path. It seems as if he is being drawn to something. But what? Where did the path lead? He continued for quite some time, and soon I found myself not far from the city of Waterdeep. Yet even as I followed him, I knew that I should have caught up to him by that point. Hatchlings are not so fast as to be able to outpace me, even with such a lengthy head start. I was just about to contact you, Balafiandra, as I knew you were in the city, but before I did, his trajectory altered once more. This time, southward, to Nightstone. Belgalissa, to Nightstone. Oh, a bit ominous, isn't it? Considering that's where the last obsidian dragon was. Well, but why would he go there? Why, indeed. Are you still in pursuit now, Freddy's? I was, but unfortunately his trail runs cold just outside the city. It's as if he vanished into thin air. And I even spoke with Daphne and a few of the guards that remain here, but they have not had any sightings of any dragon. Nissa will say, well, he has certainly not returned to the hatching grounds, nor to the demi-plane. I've been monitoring both of those rather closely. Balafiandra, could the sight of the city have stirred something? Triggered a memory, perhaps? One of Sardior's? Athene, possibly. One of Algladix's. Which could make this situation a lot more tricky. Damn it, if I had known, I knew that we should have had them use the Worm Speaker mask to try and get the handle on him. Now we've got less than a day until the invasion and not a bloody idea where he is. I think that the chromatic masks on him would have been cruel and driven him only closer to Tiamat. And by the time we made the gemstone masks, he was already missing. Pretty Zelena. I still stand by my decision not to influence him. It's chromatic or gemstone. It would have been unjust. If we can only keep him with us under the control of an artifact, he will resent us. And the first chance he gets, he will turn on us. Nissa. But has not using the mask cost us more? We're in a fine mess. No closer to finding him and running out of time. Things are dire, boys. But we've gathered you here for a reason. Is there anything that you can think of that we've overlooked? Something that might indicate where he's gone to? Any idea at all?
Out loud. Before I say this, before Goldbrand says this, didn't we fight Algolotix in another plane, like a demi-plane?
You did.
When we did battle when we did battle with the first obsidian dragons, we fought it in a demi-plane that it had created. If this thing is slipping in between planes, that's the only one there that I know of.
Athene would cock her head. If he... For him to go there, he would have to be able to tap into what he remembers before from being the Nightstone or Algolotix or... Nightstone being the last location he went to isn't a coincidence. I believe that you might be onto something. And I think anyone who wants to can roll an investigation check.
Wow, that's garbage.
Okay.
Big 3. Then big rolls.
paying attention.
Oh, natural 20. Yeah, that'll do. If you think, and this is fitting, seeing as Goldbrand has pieced part of this together. You start thinking about the directions he was heading, and how the timetables line up with your own experiences these last 72 hours. And it occurs to you that not long after he would have escaped, the masks were created. And while this was done in a demiplane, his trajectory started to head to Waterdeep. And then as he starts to head north, would have been when you were north meeting with Claw. And then again, return to Waterdeep, where he continues his westward route. Now, apparently, before he got to you, you had teleported from Waterdeep to Everasca. And instead of following you, he went to a place where you all have very deep ties. You gather that what he's pursuing is you. Whether it's all of you or the masks or one of you, he seems to be in pursuit. And if Nightstone was the triggering memory, and that demiplane was what he remembers, you know that you can actually demiplane into an existing demiplane, even if you're not the one to create it. You just have to know its contents. You gather that you can find your way in there.
I am not able to. I don't know if I can plane shift into it or not, but I am not able to mouse. Are you able to open the doors? Or to make the... I don't know, I guess that's how Goran would say it. Can you open the freaky door? The scary door?
This is, as long as I know the contents inside, I can open the door to any existing demiplane.
Safine.
I believe that you could enter this plane that we fought Algalog. He would say it, or he could. He'd say it. You know.
Algalog
We
exists.
fought that motherfucker in.
Yeah.
If we think he's there, we could go get him. I guess they're not physically with us. We could go get him. I don't know about them. Safine could go with us. It's up to you.
If you say that aloud, she'll say, "To be honest, I'm a little apprehensive of that. If, for some reason, we are what he is fleeing from, why he left in the first place, I fear that my presence may do more harm than good. But, if you all can go, then I think that there is something to be, it's the best lead we've got." She'll look at you, Yuan, and say, "Are you prepared with this today? Plane shift, or excuse me, a demi-plane."
Yes, I can get us there. It would take time to get us back out unless someone could shift us back the other way. But I can get us there for sure.
If you enter through, you will create your own doorway. You should be able to get back out if you can get into it. She goes, his safety is of the utmost concern, of course. But given his rapid development, I would be cautious. Especially if he's remembering things that Algladix remembered. That does complicate things quite a bit. She'll look to Balafiandra and say, "Valerie, I think that you should continue your work in Waterdeep. We need the reinforcements. And Bertie Zellin, I think that it would be wise if you still stay present around Nightstone, in case something does go awry. Me and Nissa and Felgalis will continue to hold down base camp and do everything we can to keep this place off the map. This is up to you, Lords." carry a bit of us, each of us, with you. May it serve you well.
Yeah, we've been dragon hunting before.
Sabine tries to think of the time she's
I
seen
will
you with
look
a
at the rest
living
of the
dragon.
party, I guess, in that moment and say, so you know, the spell only lasts a part, so I can open the door, sure, I can get us there. If we dilly-dally, if we run into issues, I can't guarantee how long it will stay open.
What'd you say in the beginning? You cut out. Last how long?
Yeah.
Yeah, Discord's not doing very good for me right now.
Same thing.
Anyway, I'm just reminding everyone the spell only lasts an hour, like the door only lasts an hour. So if we dilly-dally or get distracted or sidetracked, we may run into issues.
Maybe stuck there overnight.
But otherwise, I'm down.
Won't be the only time you say that.
I think canonically you've dropped more than you on that. You might be the first place as far as
Glass cannon, baby.
Man, it's
Not
like
even.
above table or below table. It's above table. Yeah, above table. It's like, the thing is though, I always find my way back. I can't say the same for you if you were to perish.
Ooh.
Our boy Bergen will take care of me. He'll find me.
Kick a man while his soul is down in hell. Yuan. As you ready this spell, tell me, what do you remember? Because it's funny. This is actually Yuan trying to remember through Victoria. What do you remember of this place?
I think his strongest connection with this space would be that it was the first time he ever used Shadow Step in a space before, because it was shortly after he learned that ability. And so I don't think it's necessarily like the plane itself. Like he might remember a little bit of maybe the heat or like the darkness of it. But the main thing he remembers is he was bouncing around trying to get himself away from this massive thing that was trying to kill him. And sort of, it's almost like he's remembering the ping-ponging around the space we were in more than the space itself.
Interesting. You close your mind and try to visualize it. And you see the... it's funny, in the absence of your mind, the first thing you see is shadow. And then you see the sources of the shadows, the stalagmites, the stalactites, the boulders, the rough and uneven terrain. You feel the heat in the air, and soon you see the glowing rivers of magma. You smell the smoke, this caustic fumes that fills this place in the back of your throat. And as you draw the doorway, it opens. You all step in to an uncomfortably familiar location. It has been 7 long years since you've been here, but it would seem that nothing has changed. Nothing except for the wide-eyed dragon that now regards you as you enter his domain. Its bright yellow eyes stare at you with a great apprehension. Its body tensed, all of its scales standing on end. It almost looks as if a cat trying to decide if it's going to swipe or flee. Its wings, large and bat-like and streaked with red beneath, are half raised as if it's ready to take off in an instant. You also notice that it is surprisingly big, considering it was born just 3 days ago now? Bigger than any wormling, certainly. Bigger than any young dragon that you've ever seen, though its features are still juvenile. It remains perfectly still, awaiting your next move.
Well, and given the context, in Draconic, Arcanauts would kind of call to it, be like, be still, mighty wormling? Kind of that kind of thing? I don't know if it's going to respond as Donovan or not, so I'm just going to kind of be neutral.
Yeah, It tenses up, but its eyes do not leave you. How do you approach it? Or do you approach it?
I think Goldbrand would do
Slowly.
something he learned working with bears. He's gonna sit down,
Oh.
cross-legged.
It cocks its head to the side, inquisitive and curious. And I think the thought would occur to all of you that it's not yet seen, at least to your knowledge, any humanoids. And now 5 wander into its little pocket dimension.
We're draconic adjacent.
I'll say that you all do bear gems and an array of features that do give draconic essence. I'll say, Goldbrand, make a persuasion check.
Oh, no, it's good.
Not at advantage.
Why do you make me do it?
I got an idea. No, actually.
With a 14, I'll say that its hind legs lower down. It is not quite fully seated, but it is closer to being in that position.
Do we all speak draconic now? Yeah, Goldbrand will say, I believe that my friend said something to you.
Talking about Ark, be still, little worm.
It would be polite to acknowledge you.
It almost looks like he chirps. Like his mouth opens, but nothing comes out. And it kind of furrows its brow as it looks at you. I would
Let
say
me
looks
try
at Ark and everything.
I'm saying,
You mentioned how it messages earlier. Could I message it? Group message?
You certainly could try.
I want to
yeah.
hold out the amulet of the devout that Arcanauts has, since it's like kind of a scale of Sardior. Kind of see if he recognizes it, or energy-wise at least.
I think he sniffs the air and takes a tentative step forward. Davos, if you message, what do you say?
With our friends, we mean no harm.
With our friends, we mean no harm. Make a persuasion check. I'm looking at chat, but it's not going to pop up in chat.
It's going to be a 27.
27. As it hears this, its eyes light up. With our friends, we mean no harm. And I think you'll hear back. If you mean no harm, why do I remember you attacking me? Why do I have memories of you striking out at me with that blade at your side? Who are you?
We are the Lords of Nightstone, and the memories you have, the memories you have, are from your previous life.
And
You were kind of evil.
He'll look at you. I think he'll turn to Arcanox at hearing that and goes, "What am I?"
We are not sure. The last thing that took your form was an antagonist named Donovan who nearly destroyed the realm.
He is a dragon, at least. At the very
What
minimum.
am I? What am I here for? I was not born, but made. Why?
Well, in the spirit of neutrality, I believe that's up to you.
Do you really need us to give you a purpose? You're a fucking dragon.
Ark, I really like what you said. Roll a perception check with advantage for me.
Perception?
Or, I'm sorry, persuasion. My apologies.
Okay. There we go.
Oh, did it roll?
Let's see. Yeah, the interface is being a little weird.
Oh, yeah. It do be the dumb. Huh, I'm still not seeing it on my end. Did it show up in...
Yeah, it's being weird. Let me refresh real quick.
Sometimes it do have the dumb.
Yeah, I really do. Like, the interface is being a little bit weird. There we go.
23. Very solid. In the spirit of neutrality, that's up to you. You watch as the slightest bit of tension leaves its shoulders. It no longer looks as if it's about to spring away at a moment. And it turns to Goldbrand, who said, you're a dragon. Do you need us to give you a purpose? I am a dragon. But the other dragons, they were keeping me prisoner in a fake world of cruel mockery of freedom.
They're keeping you safe,
What?
young one.
From what?
Evil.
That's actually a good question.
Yeah, they will.
I mean, I'm assuming it's something bad. I'm assuming.
I suppose you're growing at an exponential rate. Most dragons your age will not be able to conceive of a fake world in the prison. There are forces among your kind that would use you to do great evil. And they wanted to prevent that. More than likely, it would twist and damage you in the process. They were protecting you as much as everyone else.
They would use me to do great evil. Like I did before?
I think we stopped most of the great evil before it could happen.
I remember you killing me.
Fucking do it again.
I
Couple times.
Goldbrand to himself, and I will fucking do it again.
Yeah. I remember dying.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've done that a time or two.
Were you scared?
The first time? Maybe a little. I was gonna say we all die eventually. I don't know if it's true for them. They might live forever. It is, for most of us, a temporary experience. Unless we wish it not to be.
If I don't want to be here, but I don't want to be in that other place either. Do I have to go back?
Well, I mean, tell us how you feel about have you heard the sound of the horn calling to you?
His head perks up a bit. He goes, yes, like thunder in my ears. Although I've never heard it in my last life, nothing ever like this.
Does it make you want to do anything? Do you feel does it make you feel compelled?
I was drawn to it. But then I felt something different. The noise, the thunder, it made me feel less of who I am. But when I felt this new sensation, it felt more true to me. I don't want to do evil. But I don't want to be a prisoner. And they abandoned me. The dragons left me.
They're working hard to protect you, little one. To protect more than just you.
It's only a temporary arrangement, after all, because we're gonna go destroy that thing anyway.
What does temporary mean?
Means not lasting long, and for a dragon like yourself, it'll be like a blink of an eye.
I was left for quite some time. I was raised by the dragons and then passed to a new one, and then they all left, and I was left with creatures I could not communicate with, and I did not want to stay. I wanted to fly and stretch my wings and explore and not be confined.
What if we find you some
Those are
company
reasonable
and a better living
desires.
situation?
There's a couple of things. Those are reasonable desires. Barbara, what'd you say?
Oh, I was gonna say, what if we gave you a better, I don't want to say enclosure, but like a better scenario where you're safe and maybe people to keep you company more frequently, or people to wait on you every beck an hour kind of deal.
And honestly, I think Archinox has been left in charge of the obsidian dragon worm thing, technically.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, so like, yeah, dude. I've come to take care of you now?
It sniffs the air again. And I think you still have your amulet out. And it draws a little closer to it. And just as its nose makes contact, there's like a red spark. And your amulet glows. And you watch as the yellow eyes of this obsidian dragon gleam with this red light. It looks to all of you. It still has a bit of apprehension. Perhaps an unwillingness or even an inability to trust. It seems as if, to it at least, it was sealed away for quite some time. Now, 72 hours is nothing. But I think it occurs to you that it's growing at an exponential rate. And perhaps it experiences time differently. So while it may have been with each of the dragons for but a few hours, it may have felt like years.
Well, if that's the case, he's known us for weeks already, so...
Yeah, quite a while. Archinox,
can we,
Go ahead, Barb.
Oh, I was gonna say, Could Pandora possibly offer him like a starter hoard, like give him a sack of coins as a show of good faith?
Yeah. The most pirate thing ever. Yeah, I will factor that in. What do you choose to give it?
I don't know. I feel like Pandora earlier was kind of like kicking around rocks, so she's, when we were with the Gemstone Dragons, because, she was obviously not paying attention with her 3.
Pandora has ADHD.
So she's probably got a
it's
couple
alright.
of like fancy, like expensive looking stones, and some of her rings are probably expensive as a pirate does. So that and a couple of, gold pieces. Good little starter kit.
He looks at them and looks at you um and he almost does like the little not making biscuits but just like little tippy taps for a second. uh think he looks to you all and he goes, you said that something wanted to use me, to twist me. What exactly?
I don't know that we're qualified to answer that intelligently. You don't have time for a dissertation on gods and goddesses.
You watch as you say gods and goddesses. Now that it's a little closer and its eyes aren't quite as broad and fearful, as you say gods and goddesses, there's almost as if his eyes, they don't flash white, but it's almost as if something runs across his vision that isn't actually there. And he looks to Davos, to his amulet. Lathander looks to Josh, the Raven Queen. To you, Goldberg. Uthgar.
Do you know Tiamat?
Because we're trying to bring her ass back, and we're trying to stop her.
He, like, when you say the name, he like shudders a little bit. He goes, yes. Before my other life, there was someone who wanted to bring her back, wanted to use me, but I did not want it. I wanted that same power for me. Why is she bad? Is she evil?
I like to think Colruyt has to look at art because he's not entirely sure mythologically. She's like,
Oh, she invented it, bro. Like,
Yeah, for like a lore dump, because most of you would probably know this, but Arcanauts for sure would. Like in the beginning, there was one dragon, Eo, who had three children. Excuse me. The elder two twins were Tiamat and Bahamut. And Tiamat slew the third sibling and tried to frame Bahamut as the murderer, to make him fall out of favor with their father. And her father discovered the truth and renounced her and turned her away. And she has been the goddess of, evil dragons ever since.
and the mother of all chromatic dragons.
Indeed.
Which, given my red ancestry, is kind of a
And
little awkward.
well, and now you're rubied.
It's all wild.
I believe that he is. You have eased him to a point where Arcanauts, you can attempt to persuade him to join you.
Can I do something really quick before he does that?
Of course.
I took Goldbrand's lead, and I was sort of sitting on the floor with my arm thrown across my knee, just watching to see how this played out. And I think I'll stand up and say, "You recognize them. You felt that they brought you harm. Do you recognize me?"
He looks to you and he says, "You did you do something with your hair? I remember the essence of you, but not the face."
That's because, unlike anyone else I've ever met before now, I believe I understand what it means to be confused by your memories. Who you were, what you did, what you want to be, and who you can become. I too have been remade more than once, have been confused, reborn, discovered my memories once more, and been unsure who I was, who I am, what I want to do, and who I could be. And sometimes, in the muddle of those memories, you feel like you made the wrong decision, the bad decision. But what I can tell you is that in my current form, I made some of the worst decisions that any form of me's ever made, and this lot, as interesting as they are, helped me find the right path once again. And I feel they can do the same for you if you just let them try.
You will. Interesting is a four-letter word.
I don't get it either. It's something Megan says, like it's bad. So I don't know exactly what it means, but
That's very Goldbrand says an expression he doesn't quite fully grasp. um,
I
as
would like
you,
to do something as well,
yeah, please.
because I too know why the caged bird sings.
Come
I
from
would whip out the crystal ball of true seeing
Hmm.
and give it to this dragon. And a dragon once gave me this. And so, in the event that you're ever separated from anybody that you'd like to see what they're up to, you can use this.
You gotta spread your wings and learn to fly.
I think he takes the ball and paws it toward him and rolls it on its side, and it soon grows a misty white. And as it, would y'all see it though? I think we've narrated that you all have watched Davos's ball before, so yeah. Um, as the vision comes to, you see an elven woman. Uh, you've never met this person before. You've never seen her. And his eyes flash again, and it shifts to a different face, someone else that you've never met. And then again, and again, and again, and again. And finally, uh, it turns to one that you do know. And it is Helena. And as he looks at it, he looks to you. "I have hurt people before. A lot of people." And with he takes his paw off the ball, and his eyes flash a very familiar misty white as he himself scries and sees another figure and another and another. He looks to you, Josh, and says, "You said that you had made grave mistakes, but you have steered away from them." And he'll turn to look at you, Davos, When will you steer away from yours?
Well, this backfired. I'm working on that still. I am half human.
He'll cock his head to the side, as if recalling an expression from years gone by. A work in progress. And he'll
Hashtag life story.
he goes, I think he'll look to you, Arcanauts. And you feel this openness, this vulnerability, for lack of a better word. You are going to have the opportunity to try and persuade him. But I want to let you know that how you go about doing it and the tools you utilize to do it could have different outcomes. This is not a mere pass or fail. But the method you choose to go about it is entirely your own. You could make a persuasion check or an intimidation check. You could use the mass or not. But whichever you choose is going to impact how all of this goes down.
No pressure.
No pressure. Yeah.
I don't want to intimidate him, even though it's my highest stat. I feel weird about that. But given everything that Ark has learned in his character development, he'll kind of like clasp the Sardior pendant around his neck and kind of step forward a little bit. He's like, from where I've came in this life to where I am now, the only thing I've learned is that we choose our own destiny and rise to greatness when we meet it. The choice is yours, but will you join us in meeting that greatness? And I'm gonna go for persuasion, I guess.
As you roll this, are you tapping into the mask to get that advantage mechanically?
You know what? I would want to mechanically, but that would seem disingenuous. You know what I mean? That would seem like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I think as you make that choice, you feel your amulets still glowing. And you're going to get a +3 to this roll. Plus whatever else you get to add to it. But plus an additional 3. Roll when you're ready. As you speak to the obsidian, it views you all with a sense of confusion. You want me to go with you to do what exactly?
To save the fucking world, man.
Prevent the evil.
As you reach out to him, your hand makes just the barest bit of contact with his head. And he recoils. His eyes seem to go back to that yellow just a bit more, and he shakes his head and goes, "You want to use me as she would use me." You want to use me as a tool to your own ends.
I mean, it's a little bit of a leap, but
I do not wish to be a tool to accomplish some goal, a means to an end. I wish to be me. I wish to be left alone. And as he says that, the lava within this chamber begins to bubble and boil. And you were all expelled from this plane as he closes it.
ooh.
You were
Teenager.
all you were all snapped back to the tent where you were with Saphine, who looks at you expectantly, does not see the dragon with you. Well, what happened?
Fucking moody teenagers.
Teenage angst.
She sighs a bit. It goes, well, boys, you gave it your best shot. This isn't the end, but I think it's best if we let him brood. At least if he's somewhere else, he won't be here. He won't be where they can get to him.
I would relay that he does feel abandoned by all the dragons and explain how he might experience time differently. Hours or minutes, days to us, years to him.
She nods. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I would reiterate, the reason I feel like that's important is because if you let him stew for too long, he might grow into something different in his solitude. So I would be careful with how long you allow him to be alone.
Yeah.
Saphine will bite her lip anxiously, begins picking at her fingernails in a way that's very uncharacteristic of her. And I think she'll say, I'll talk to the others. We have to do something, but I don't know what we can do without making the situation worse. Get some rest.
Apologize?
Oh, I thought we'd kill problematic children.
That might be the Uthgard way of doing it, but normally you just have to wait for them to go through puberty.
Yeah, those of us that can read don't partake in those types of events, Goldbrand.
I could read.
He can
I
read.
think he feels that way because he
No.
makes so many. They
Got
have
to
to.
thin him
They
out,
have
you
to
know.
find a way to call the weak ones. Yeah, exactly.
Got to thin them out to keep the pantry full. You get it.
In this moment of panic, having been reborn 3 times, Yuan starts to wonder if he can reproduce at all.
That's a thought.
Man,
The more important
Or
question:
probably has a clutch
should you?
somewhere.
Clutch.
What was that, Ark? I didn't catch that.
I said Argonax probably has a clutch somewhere.
I will say we're gonna go ahead and take our break there, as you lords go in for a long rest. But Argonax, you do notice that your amulet is still glowing. Your amulet of devotion is now a +3 instead of a +2. So if you want to delete that and add a new one to your character sheet, you have retained a bit of the spark from your encounter with the obsidian.
Before we go,
Yeah,
if you're done,
go ahead.
Goldbramble, are you able to talk to him? You might want to let him know. He picked up magic very quickly. Davos gave him a ball, and he learned the spell just using it. Can you try to contact him and tell him to reach out after he's done brooding? To you specifically?
Saphine will nod her head and go, interplanar communication is not exactly simple, but I believe it's something that we could manage. We're a little pressed for resources, but it's obviously a priority. I'll talk with the others, and we'll try to decide what's best. We may be
Tell him.
dragging her too.
I was going to say, tell him that he has memories of bad, and he can make memories of good, if he so chooses.
She'll nod her head and say,
With friends.
Yeah, friendship.
The power of
Friendship is magic.
I hate it here.
I do warn you, boys. As this is a very time-sensitive nature, we may be down some of our allies. If one or two of us needs to attend to this, I can't guarantee they'll be there when we need them tomorrow. We'll do our best to, but I just want to make that clear. We may have to change tactics on the fly.
That's what we do best.
Get some rest. Don will be here before you know it. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take our break. We'll be back here in about 10 minutes. Catch you in a minute. And we're back. As we return to the Lords of Nightstone, you have all just finished a long rest. If you would like to go ahead and mark that on your character sheet, we are going to prepare ourselves for war, boys. Yeah. You all load up onto the Red Wing. The crew eager to get started. It is still some hours before dawn. We'll say it's probably likely about 4 a.m. or so. And you begin moving toward the Well of Dragons. And even as you get to the outer perimeter, just as you leave the camp, I mean, you're some 100-odd miles from the well, and yet you can see the flames all around this caldera, not from active volcanoes, but from multitudes of draconic, fiendish forces that are blazing through the night, ever vigilant, ever watchful. You all make your way up. Actually, need to change my playlist here. Give me 1 second. You all make your way. Oh, where is it? There it is. You all make your way toward the well. And I think that since you elected to not have him imprisoned, Sonder would appear on the upper deck and tell you, we should probably take the sending stone out. The other ships will be wanting to communicate. If they don't hear from us at a distance, they may investigate closer.
Oh yes, of course. So you're suggesting we take it back out? Sorry.
Yes.
My Discord's still being a turd.
Have it in
sorry.
You have it in the bag. We didn't throw it away. Okay, Goldbrand will. I'm sort of caught up now. Yes. My brain's like, I agree, and the next thing wasn't loading. But what to do next? Goldbrand will take the stone out of the bag and hand it back to him so that they can use it for its intended purpose. We're gonna have to fly past the green ship to get to the Draakhorn. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes. Your approach, you could sort of go any direction, but that feels like it would be the most, the most direct route. Because otherwise, you're gonna have to fly over the caldera or over some of these armies from the west, about where the Uthgard dragons are now. The Uthgard dinos, excuse me. Is probably gonna be your best.
And that cavalry unit's gonna distract the Hydra. If we go that direction. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry because I was plotting. If I'm being entirely honest, who asked for the stone? Is the ex-cultist here?
Yeah, Saunders the one who told you, hey, you should probably take that out.
Goldbrand will hand him the stone, and he will say, do you have thoughts on what you think we should tell them to get past them?
He'll say, we were going to investigate something that many of my allies in arms did not think was going to be a good outcome. We could say that we were captured, but we managed to escape. Or we could lie to them. We could tell them that Cloth will be here on their side. There's potential to buy him a little extra time, as it were. If Cloth flies in here, and he begins attacking things, that might set, that might create a bit of chaos. However, if he is truly just going to go for for Rancor, he will have to fly over multitudes. If they believe he's one of them, they'll leave him be. They'll give him a clear point of entry.
Malazan, Book of the Fallen. Great series.
Sorry,
anyway.
Malazan or Malthazar was the red dragon y'all fight in the Fire Giants.
Is
there
a low-ranking anybody around that Goldbrand can, almost like a page in Devin's brain, that Goldbrand can send to ask Cloth? Can any of you suggest this to Cloth? I don't know who else around us.
No, sure. Yeah, you certainly can have somebody take care of that for sure. I think the first person you ask, like, you say Cloth, the name of the most feared dragon on the continent. And his face goes a little bit like, ask who? And then you're like, I'll get somebody slightly more competence. And you pull, like, Torum, like a lieutenant, like, hey, do this. And he'll, like, look serious and nod and get it done. Yes, sir, I won't fuck this up, sir. Cloth. And he's saying the name over and over again so he doesn't lose it as he goes.
I mean, if we could just tell Daphne to message him, or to tell, I don't want to do Daphne, but anybody, any of our NPCs can do it.
Yeah, Daphne's not there. She's in Nightstone. Oh, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, she could. You could message her to message Sidiri to do that. But yeah, one way or another, you get a message to Cloth, and fantastic. Y'all are about to take off. Any last minute preparations before you do?
Okay, I want to clarify some things really fast before we get into this. You said so. We have like a magical EMP. That's a talisman that works on the Draakhorn,
Yes.
and it makes anything in the area non-magical.
Correct, within 100 feet. You arm it, and it has 12 seconds before it goes boom.
12 seconds. The dragon shot. It is like it does extra damage to dragons specifically. It's like an arrow, like arrow of dragons. It's like
Yes.
a cannonball. Yes. Okay.
Yes, I will say dragons here is a broad term, and where like the the sea serpent, the hydra, all of that will take the extra damage from it because they are draconic entities. But yes, does I think an average if they fail to save of 100 points of damage. So pretty fucking good bet. And there's always the chance you could crit on it, which really, like if you crit and then roll good on the damage, you could easily do 250 damage to that thing. Oof.
Okay. Said something. Goldbrand will say to you you mentioned he might know where more of them are. You should check to see if one fits in the bag. And Goldbrand will hand it to him because it's a very Goldbrand thing to do.
Wait, what are you giving me?
I give you the bag of holding to go check. Goldbrand's telling you to go check if the cannonball will fit in the bag. Because if we need to move one, we have to make sure we can move it. How big is it?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I was thinking like, Devin, no, the Dragon Ball has to stay on the ship, but
No.
I see what you're saying now.
Sorry.
Yeah, you
But
want
if we
to
collect
take
all
the
of
bag?
them.
Yeah, exactly. I almost thought about calling them that, but I'm like, the jokes will just never end. They won't anyway, but you go downstairs to the middle deck. You do find your way to the helm of the ship, where there is a particular brass mount that is clasped around this ball that's at the very front of the ship. You see that there's draconic writing around the edges of this ball, and I think it's almost done in like where it's like a continuous script. Like think like a baseball. You know how the single line of thread weaves all the way around the baseball. Something kind of similar to that. You take the bag of holding, and it's a bit of a squeeze, but yeah, you could fit the cannonball in there without issue.
Okay. I think I would also. I want to bring him down there with me. I don't know how much he knows about this. He said that he was specifically a cannoneer, or he manned the cannons.
Yes, sir.
I'll bring him down as I'm inspecting it because I feel like he'll know more about this than I do. And I'll say, so this appears to be imbued with some form of magic. It's obviously not standard fodder. I assume that an impact with the ground wouldn't activate it. It has to be something that you intentionally choose to do, or...
He cocks his head a bit, and he says, well, I do know that when you fire it, it is spent. If you miss your target, you cannot retrieve it. The magic is used. I do not know if you were to, for example, just drop it out of your hands onto the deck, if it would trigger or not. I believe it's part of the power comes from the ignition process, if I'm not mistaken, or is activated by it.
Okay, so in theory, if we were to destroy a ship carrying one of these, as long as we did not directly damage the orb, it might still work.
He'll shake his head, or he'll sort of cock his head. Could be, sir. It would depend on, of course, if the ship were to catch fire when it hit, or if the fire elementals or any the blast powder, or any number of things. It's actually kind of concerning that we have the elementals on one side and then all of the gunpowder on this level of the ship as well. I will have some thoughts on that later, but that explosion might cause the ball to trigger as well, or to blow its load, as it were.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm going to startle him even further, and I'll turn to the elementals, and I'll speak to them in Infernal, and say, whatever you do, make sure that if for some reason you get out of here, that you don't go to that side of the ship and ignite all these. We might all die together.
You get a very unamused response that they are prisoners in here. That they cannot get out if they wanted to. I would say of the three, you even get the sense that one of them's like, I'll go right over there. You should have told me that. I will fuck this whole ship up.
No, remember we had an agreement, and I'd wink at him.
The first one you're going to trade out.
Ooh, elementals.
Can you theoretically go get them, suck them, like seal them in, and then put them into it? Sorry. I had to
Part
wonder.
of his process is convincing the spirits to go with him, and he does not just necessarily elementals, but specifically undead elementals.
Okay,
he gets the souls of things that should not be stuck here. Granted,
It's
certainly
okay.
has a good bit of sway with him.
We can summon them into there. It's okay.
I was like,
Yeah.
man, are you asking if I can essentially Ghostbusters vacuum these dudes up inside of myself? Because that's no.
I did
Why
briefly
not?
think, like, what if they try to put his dad, like, what if they for some reason lose one, and all of a sudden they're like, your dad's a fire elemental, sort of, just shove him in there. Like, how dark is that? Like,
he should be worth all three, though. I don't know. I think that's sick. Especially
I debated
making
summoning
an
him
AI
just to
voice out of him.
He's
just to
technically
convince
just
the
saying.
elementals that we were chill. I was gonna be like, maybe I'll summon him for just like a minute to be like, hey, talk to him for me, all right?
Yeah. You call your black friend to talk to your, like, then that's fucked up.
Okay, so
Lord.
I can't say for certain what would happen if the ship goes down in a fiery explosion. We probably can't use the ball anymore. So the idea would be to go retrieve it before that happens, theoretically.
Indeed.
Yes, if you could, would be most beneficial.
I think we need to focus on the Draakhorn first, and then come back to try to take the ship. But I think we should send
Draakhorn.
like, yeah. Ben's like, yeah, Draakhorn. No, I think we should. And I have some thoughts on how
That's my one objective.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on how we can get that knocked out, because it'll give us a disadvantage to shit while it's blowing, and fuck us up. But I kind of think we should make two people invisible and send them in after the cannonball. If shit goes south, maybe have a good way, maybe have a dimension door out, or have a way to get there quickly. But if we can send two people in to snag it and get back out with it, and then sink the ship and then kill the dragon, or vice versa. But I
How do y'all
definitely think we
feel
have
about that,
time.
Luke?
I think we have more time to plot how we're going to get that cannonball, but we need to do the Draakhorn first, or it'll be bad.
That is
Just getting close to it.
Sorry, I had to add something to a map. All right, so you are all airborne. Goldburn has proposed to hit Draakhorn and then the green wing. Any final thoughts or preparations before you close into the Draakhorn?
I would just let him know that I concur, but that we will probably make a lot of noise in the area of the Draakhorn when we set that off. And I'm curious if that might draw a lot of attention in that direction as we try to then flee northwest towards the green ship. But I don't know if that's, like, strategically, I don't know if it makes a difference.
They did briefly speak about this possibility in the War Council, sort of saying that if it, once you take care of the Draakhorn, or once you start that conflict, the quicker you take care of the Draakhorn and get the fuck out of there, the better. Because if you draw it out, because you don't necessarily need to kill every enemy there, and whoever's guarding it, that's not necessarily important. Because if you try to pick too many fights, the other dragons nearby may come fuck with you before the infantry and stuff can intercept them. You got a window.
Yeah, I would just say if we could launch a form of surprise attack. It might even draw the enemies to the northwest towards us to make that trip a little shorter. I don't know. I largely agree with the plan. I think that's fine. I would ask if we would assume that the Draakhorn is a structure versus like a creature, if that makes sense.
It's technically an item. It is more akin to a structure. I have a feeling I know why you're asking. For like, is it the Earth Elemental that has like siege?
Yeah, you know why I'm asking.
Yeah, does extra damage to structures. You know, I would maybe compromise and say not double, but we'll say time and a half.
Okay, it's on the table, and it's not a guarantee I'm going to do that, but it was something I was thinking about.
Is that
Oh,
something
it's
Summon
good, though.
Elemental can summon? Oh,
Yeah, Earth Elemental, or specifically the Jorn
I
has
see.
siege. I
His
think you
or
have
all?
another summon that could do it too. I think all of them.
I think it's him and Hawthorne can probably both do it. I think.
Hawthorne, yeah. He ain't got no love this season. You got to bring him up.
Yeah, that's true.
I do think you honestly, Josh makes a good point. If y'all think we should sneak on there and take the Dragon Ball, the Cannonball first, I'm definitely down. Y'all let me know how you feel about that. But if not, I think we drop high level spells on the Draakhorn until it's dead.
Yes.
Which one?
Yeah,
So
so
the
sneak-
second one. So I
So
see.
you're saying on the way in? You're saying on the way in, stop and sneak on the green, grab the Dragon Ball, exit, and then go to the Draakhorn? You're saying Draakhorn, try to get that off before you like fully engage with Greenwing?
I think that's what we do. I think that makes the most sense because the Draakhorn has the biggest shot at causing us a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Okay,
What
we've
do y'all
got
think?
one opinion. What else do y'all think? Or what are the rest of y'all?
So the question is Draakhorn or Dragon Ball first.
Yeah, if we don't get the Dragon Ball successfully, we tip them off before we get to the Draakhorn.
I'm gonna go Horn first.
I mean, we could cause a distraction on the horn, and then you guys grab the ball.
I don't think it would be wise to split our resources.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's true.
That- yeah, they are a pretty good distance away.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
I definitely see the benefits for both. Like, you know, for doing the sneaking first
Yeah.
or going straight to it. But
Getting the ball first means you more likely than not are guaranteed to get the ball, and it won't be lost if they crash or whatever. We'll say if you go to the Draakhorn and then you go fight the Green Wing and the Green Dragon and all that, because your crew is going to be trying to fight the Green Wing, and you're going to be trying to fight the Dragon. Either one of you is going to have to split off and try to get the Dragon Ball, or someone else is one of your crew members are, and that's going to be a risk for them and less of a guarantee to happen, but also a sort of a deficit to the Red Wing. Like that'll be a reflected in their modifiers, as it were.
Theoretically, couldn't I be sneaky and get the ball?
I think that's the best plan.
Yeah, but while you're doing that, the rest of the party's going to be fighting the Green Dragon.
Yeah, but that's okay, because if I'm sneaky and I don't get caught, it's all good.
Oh no.
Well, no, if y'all do the Draakhorn first, then everything knows y'all are enemies, rather than, being sneaky would be a little harder just because the war would have already started. The
Yeah,
cannonball,
it's
where the area that it's kept, the cannons will be very manned and very tricky. Not saying it's impossible, but
I was gonna
would
say, but
be
if
harder.
they're distracted, if their attention's now diverted to the rest of the group, you don't know.
maybe.
I have a random thought.
Oh, no.
There were extra robes on this ship, right?
There were indeed.
Man, I don't know how much I trust him, but what if by some random chance we in tandem put you two in one of the robes, and then I cast a darkness spell somewhere to let him shadow step into, so he could just teleport to the ship, right? And then he just takes the ball and comes back. He could shadow step.
There you go.
This is pedantic. I think that wouldn't work because you have to see where you shadow step to. I'm trying to pull it up
But
now.
it could be on the deck.
Oh, here's the
Which would
fun
give
thing, and the
them-
reason I brought this up. I found out if I cast darkness with sorcery points, I can see through the darkness spell.
Oh, that's right. No, I remember this.
But it could just be
Oh,
on the
fuck
deck
it.
too, so you could literally blip someone and he could blip himself back. doing so.
Right. Exactly. So we could essentially burn sorcery points to essentially create, if as long as we got within 60 feet the range of the spell, to create a darkness spell momentarily to blip into, and then just dispel it so nobody knows anything.
God, I wish he could go.
And it would be a little easier for, the darkness went up, and then when it went down, there's only other people in robes. You may not have had an exact head count or whatever. So, no, I can see that being potential.
That was kind of weird.
It would be, he will have to make the checks then, but that is an option.
I mean, he rolls better than I do.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if he could take someone with him. I don't know how you feel, Brandon, about using your dimension door to facilitate travel either to or from.
I'd assumed it for the Draakhorn. I thought we had to plant a bomb, and then I was going to dimension door out of there.
We do. That is a very good use of it as well. Okay. You save that
You
for that.
You do know that you have 12 seconds, which is 2 rounds, to get 100 feet away. Under normal circumstances, all of you can achieve that. That is not, outside the realm of possibility. But that would be, using dashes or, maybe some particular abilities. It's not required that you use the dimension door, but if shit goes south, it might be the best way.
My only suggested alternative, besides just sending in you two with the darkness, is that we can cast invisibility on Pandora and one more, and she can use her bow to cast fly. And they could potentially get there and in there, fly theoretically.
Yeah.
They could walk while they had a fly speed, etc., etc.
Yeah.
You just have to
that's fair.
reverse the order. Cast a spell first. Cast
And
fly
then do the
first.
invisibility.
And then
That's a very
invisibility.
good match, honestly.
Well, if one of them concentrates on visibility and the other concentrates on fly, or whoever is on invincibility is still left on the ship.
It's just, we have to be
think I
careful
can-
as soon as somebody uses an action, invisibility drops. So you have to be careful.
Mm,
Order of
Yeah.
operations is important.
mhm.
I thought it was cast a spell or attack.
Yeah, but if she casts fly, even if it's from her bow, that would trigger the casting a spell aspect. So
Right.
he is right that it would be fly first, then invisibility.
Could you?
I
do you-
can cast invisibility on myself, get in there, and then dimension door out.
You can take one person with a dimension door.
Yep.
Yuan, do you have invisibility? Can we invisible Pandora and send those two in?
I do have invisibility, and I actually think that I can cast it without using a spell slot once a day.
It's a good backup plan. So,
For Shadow Touched. I think that's right.
Yeah.
all right, I'm down to
double
try to
check,
steal the
but I'm
Dragon
pretty
Ball
sure.
first. I was Team Draakhorn, and now I'm Team Dragon Ball first.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
we-
can cast invisibility once a day for free. So I'll totally use my free use to make somebody invisible.
All right, we have enough plans to go do this thing and hopefully do it before they realize that we're the enemy.
What I'm going to tell you, Davos, is the same thing I just told them, because I don't want any gotchas or order of operations got messed up. You have to dimension door both of you first, and then immediately cast invisibility on yourself, because you
they're
cannot
using it to
cast a
get
Well, I
spell.
think he's
Yeah,
I
they're
think he's
using it to
saying
get out.
use the invisibility, get over there, and then dimension door out.
I see. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, because it's up to an hour for the invisibility.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm down.
You are all. It's funny. Plans are useless, but planning is essential. You all make your way toward the Well of Dragons, and it is not long before the sunrise is imminent. You see the skies turning red and pink and shades of gold and orange on the far distant east. And as you approach, you begin
I am so
here.
sorry. Do we need to do Heroes
Go ahead.
Feast? I wanted to say that because I wasn't sure if I thought it was still active, but now that we had
Mm.
another rest, I realized that may not be the case.
Thought it was for 24
will-
hours.
Same.
Would you argue
I thought
that
we were
we
still
wouldn't
in
have
the
used
same-
Heroes Feast until we knew we were going in, and that
Well,
we just
we-
used it now?
We used it last time with the thought that it'll carry us through the next day because we used it in the
Right.
evening,
Yeah.
but then we had another long rest, and I wanted to clarify.
No, I'll be gracious and say that you guys, perhaps at breakfast this morning or dinner last night, either way, you'll be covered for the entirety of this fight. That you have your Heroes Feast. If someone wants to roll 2d10, this is the bowl, so you don't even need to use the spell slot to do it, which is good. 14. Everyone give yourself, excuse me, increase your maximum hit points by 14.
Gross, that comes
60.
As you are all drawing near, and the morning light begins to break off across the valley, you hear the sending stone begin to speak. Sonder holds it out to you, and it says, Red Wing, come in, Red Wing, can you hear us?
Goldbrand nods to, sorry, you just said his name. The ex-cultist.
Sonder.
Sonder, thank you. Yeah, no, as in, like, he's the only one they might recognize. We can't see shit.
He'll say, yes, sir, yes, sir. And you'll hear the voice on their end and hesitate for a bit before it continues. This is Captain Thorn of the Green Wing. Who am I speaking to? You see Sonder. I'm Sonder, sir. I cannoneer. And he'll say, and what has happened to the captain? He was killed. We were attacked on the way to the to Cloth's lair. And I'm gonna have him roll a deception check.
Dora, can you pick up his slack?
While he does that,
I don't-
everyone remember that we took a long rest, but you should still have 24 temporary hit points too.
Oh my.
Did you give them a new one? Because I think temporary hit points are expire on a long rest.
Then in that case, I would have when we did the Heroes Feast.
Yeah, we'll just call it the same amount, 24. The line is quiet for a while, and he says, "What is the passcode?" And you see that Sonder looks very anxious, and he his eyes like shoot up, and he goes to the safe under the bed, which I'm going to say that Pandora has left unlocked, and pulls out the captain's log, and he flips through it, and you'll hear the sending stone repeat, "What is the passcode?" And you'll hear Sonder trying to stall. Well, sir, when we lost communications, the passcode was Empress. The voice picks up on the sending stone. That is outdated. But given your circumstances, you should know the new code is resurrection. We thought all of you dead. Your marker even disappeared off the damn map. Can we at least expect to see cloth on our side? And Sonder will say, yes, sir. We had a bit of trouble on the way, but we were successful. Cloth should be flying in any minute now. I'm going to have him make another deception check. Nope, that's a D100. I thought that was very good.
97. Good job.
It was an 80. I mean, honestly, not bad at all. Actually, I need to roll one more.
You can use fractions to round down on that.
There we go. You'll hear, very well. That is excellent news. I'm glad you were able to make it back. I'm not sure where they want you positioned, but you should probably, head to the temple. We don't have long before these scum are going to begin their work. And
The
has
temple
given
is
you...
in the middle, right?
Correct. It's at the
That's
stop.
perfect.
He's given you permission to pass by. If you're still wanting to do the sneak on first, you will be able to get close enough, as it were. I mean, Dimension Door reaches 500 feet. So it's not out of the question that you could get close enough to make that happen. Is that the plan?
I think the plan is to make them fly and then cast invisibility and let them get over there with their fly speed and then dimension door back out. So we need to get close enough for them to be able to fly there within a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, what's your fly speeds, Brandon and Barbara?
I guess I gotta look. I think it's on my bow.
Oh, yours should be under your movement speed. The fly spell, I think, is 60 feet, but I will look that up.
Yeah.
Trying to
Yeah,
look
but
now. It is
still
60
good.
feet.
Yeah, at the top of your character sheet where it says walking speed, you should be able to click that and it'll show you all your speeds.
Oh, I learned something new today. Yeah, it says 60 feet.
I didn't know until I was trying to double Goldbrand speed, and I couldn't remember what it was. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? Where the fuck is this?
Can't find it on the app.
Oh,
I'm looking.
you are 50 feet, if I'm not mistaken. So 500 feet would be 10 rounds, which is 1 minute.
Well,
Which is
they can dash per round.
They could, that's fair. So, in that case, half that, about 5 rounds, 30 seconds. Y'all can certainly get within 500 feet and sort of maintain that distance while they're there. Maybe they leave a little outside of that range and y'all cut it in a little closer. We'll say 400 feet, so there's not as narrow a window. Both of you expend your resources for fly, which I think is a charge of your bow, Barbara, because you fly innately now. You only need the 1 charge for Davos. How are they both getting invisible?
I will burn my invisibility, my free use per day, to make one of them Barb invisible, because Davos could do it to himself. You can touch yourself, right, Davos?
Yep, it does say I
He
can touch
regularly
myself
does so.
with
He
my
can touch
harp.
himself- He
Cannon.
can touch himself, but you can't watch. It's hence the invisible part. Fantastic. Barbara and Davos, you both watch as yourselves go transparent. And you are
I would like to contribute a spell if I may. Can I cast freedom of movement on them?
oh, certainly.
I think.
Yeah, no, they can't be restrained. They get dash as a bonus action.
Yeah,
Run me
I
through
think
it.
it's gonna make them faster. I have to find it. God damn it. Pardon
It's
my
under
French.
freedom of movement.
I see freedom of the waves. That's not wrong. Oh, it's 2nd level. Isn't it?
Way to get him, DM.
So sorry. I knew it exists. I just hadn't found it
You
yet.
touch a willing creature.
Oh,
For the
it's
duration, the
weird.
target's movement speed is unaffected by difficult terrain. Spells and other magical effects can neither reduce their speed nor cause the target to be paralyzed or restrained. Target also can spend 5 feet of movement to automatically escape from non-magical restraints, such as manacles or a creature that has a grapple. Finally, being underwater poses no penalties on the target's movement or attacks. Excellent. No, now this is a willing creature, I will say.
Yeah.
It does not say anything about upcasting, so you would have to use 2 4th levels to get them both. Or you could just go with the one that you think is going to be least likely to escape.
You should definitely use it on Davos, because he's the one that can do dimension doors, so you can always grab Barb and dimension door them out.
I'm gonna do
That's
it.
a very good point. Even if
Okay.
she's grappled, that's not going to stop him from...
She has
you know.
bonus action dash and stuff anyway. No, I'll do it. On to Devos. How about it? I think it's worth
Fantastic.
trying to use now.
Have you found it on your sheet yet?
I'm working on it. I'll get it. You said 4th
If
level?
not, I'll just copy and paste this into Roll20 chat. Fantastic. As you two approach,
Oh.
it's unusual to be in the air and see nothing beneath you. Barbara, flying for you is relatively new, and Davos, while you've had your wings for a few days now, this is the first time you've been like open over the open sky for an extended period without, the ship nearby. It's almost a little surreal. Do you have something, Josh?
I was just gonna ask, before they left, could they put robes on?
Certainly can't hurt. Plot twist, they did it after the invisibility, so now the robes look like they're haunted.
Oh, no!
no, I'm kidding. Y'all are making your way toward the Greenway. You see dozens of wyverns swarming this ship. I mean, we're talking easily 60 of these, just flying about it in every single direction. You do not immediately lay eyes on the green dragon, though you know it is nearby, according to the intelligence that was gathered from your party. So both of you keep a very sharp out for that. Let's say roll 1 perception check between the 2 of you, and then I need 2 stealth checks at advantage because you have invisibility.
One perception.
So you're both good at that.
Oh. I didn't know it was between us. I thought it was one each.
I mean, you're both real good at it. But I think yours is.
It's fine.
I got a
The ones who
24 on the
stealth
stealth.
should be.
Oh.
What was that, Brandon? 20 what?
24?
24 on stealth.
4. Very good. Let me look at something. That's with the advantage?
Yeah, the other roll was a 9.
Great.
Excellent. As you are drawing towards, the ship, you see a bit of movement in the forest below. You're on the edges of this marshy swampland, and you see as a few of the boughs of these trees shift. This is going to give you just enough time to try to get a little better concealed, Brandon. Something is emerging from the tree line. You gather you have a moment to react. Is there something that you can do to either improve those odds or get under better cover? Or let's see what you come up with.
I was just thinking how close we are to the ship. If I could dash while flying.
This is going to be about the halfway point. You're about 200 or so feet away.
Can't cast a spell. $200
Give or take.
I think dragons have true sight up to 120.
It varies dragon to dragon.
Is there any clouds? I can't hide behind Pandora.
No, I will, I'll allow it. Say that you increase your elevation, you dip up for a bit. It's going to take you an extra round to get there, but make a new stealth check for me. I will take your partial cover into consideration.
Advantage or no?
Yes, because you are still invisible. Yes, sir.
24 for the first, 17 for the second.
With your cloud cover, you don't see any of this. But Barbara, a little lower, you see. It's funny because either y'all fly independently and do not see each other whatsoever, or you have to hold hands the whole time. But I think Demo starts to pull up, and you are sort of pulled alongside him. And you watch as the massive head of an ancient green dragon emerges from this forest below and sniffs at the air. And its eyes sharpen and glare about carefully. But you feel like you've managed to sneak by for the time. You both arrive at the Green Wing. Its layout remarkably similar to your own, for it is the identical ship. As you touch down on the deck, give me a new stealth check for each of you, with advantage.
All right. That one was a 35.
19.
Barbara, can you roll again for your advantage?
Oh, I thought I
19,
did.
huh?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 rolls total, so yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that was, for some reason it separated that last one, so I thought it was just the one. Okay.
Yeah, I have no
Um,
clue why I did that, but I'm like, there's 6 rolls.
As you both touch down, the ship is rather alive with activity. The battle may not have started, but in the early morning light, you see that people are scrambling. There are several people on the crow's nests. There are people at the ballistas at the front of the ship. You hear a captain barking orders, and the stairway is constant movement. People going up, people going down. There is just the one to get down to the second quarters. You're going to have to time this very well. Why don't y'all I'll tell you what check would you like it to be? You can make it acrobatics. You might be able to make it sleight of hand. You might be able to make it athletics to time it right and to just get your feet in the exact right position they need to be. How would you like to try to slip by in this flurry of activity?
Some. I do like acrobatics for me personally because, I'm cat-like and maneuverable, can twist my spine and all that good stuff.
Certainly, yes. All right, go ahead and roll an acrobatics check for me. Davos,
My
what about you, Micah?
cat-like.
Preferably, I'd like to roll a performance check as a dancer.
Dexterity.
I'll say that you, as you're watching this, you pick up a rhythm on it. And it's, you time it out better because of that. Your foot tapping along near silently. Roll a performance check for me.
Heck
He's
yeah.
performing it visibly
Nat
for a
20.
party of
Nat
ghosts.
20. Fantastic.
Or a total of 37, if that matters.
Damn. You beat Barb. Actually, a 37
That's
is from...
insane.
That's so funny. Or for her acrobatics, I guess. Yeah, the timing of it works out just perfectly. You slip down to the lower deck, and again, you see tons of activity. There are 12 cannons on this ship, and you see 3 men at each of them. It is incredibly busy down here. When the war actually starts, they are going to be firing constantly. Every cannon they have, every round. Which is good information to know, but extremely unnerving. As you see all of these rows of cannons, you see at the helm of the ship on the opposite end you are, you see the Drakesbane shot in a similar brass holder as it was on your ship. You've got to sneak past all of these people, so give me one more stealth check at advantage. As this activity, again, near constant, there's powder monkeys going back and forth. There are people who are repositioning and trying to amend small issues with the ship. 30, Barb?
I had a question.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Since I
What
heard
happens
the
if you roll in
captain
that
barking
one?
orders. I heard the captain barking orders, so I know how he talks. I'm wondering if I could roll a performance check to sound like I was the captain calling for all hands on deck or cannoneers to the deck.
I love that. Yeah, roll a performance check. Or performance or deception. I'll allow your choice. Since you're trying to mimic a voice, we'll say that performance is passable.
For a 27.
27. Barbara, it almost startles you because you do not see Davos do this. Again, y'all are holding hands because otherwise you do not have a way of knowing where each other are. And you hear this voice in your ear and you jerk your head over, but you see no source. And even a couple of the people around you immediately kind of jump a little bit as they're startled, but it does not seem, there's just a moment's hesitation by those people who are closest to you before everybody begins to move their way up and they join along as well. And the deck quickly becomes cleared out. Bravo! You quickly make your way over to the Drakesbane shot, pull it from its mount, and although we didn't say that you had it, since Yuan was since Goldburn was smart enough to suggest testing it, you do have the bag of holding. It plops right in. You don't have any difficulty carrying it back. As you both turn, you realize that you do have an opportunity here. You could take out the elementals that are on this level and take this whole ship down preemptively. It would cause a lot of attention, but no one would see the Red Wing be responsible for the Green Wing's fall. It would heighten awareness, but would take out a very powerful enemy in the war to come. How do you choose to proceed?
Yeah. I don't know. That seems like a very tactical thing to do.
We'd have to fight them? I can't remember how do you...
Not necessarily, no. You know that the elementals are unwilling captives. If you could break them
So we just
out
free 'em.
of their prison, you could basically leave their ship dead in the air.
You could
I will
potentially
use
Okay,
this
so
All we
then-
gotta do is
to
break a
my
I
lock.
don't know
best.
if anybody knows, but
4 people just talked at once. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Everybody's typing in the chat. 7 people are typing right now.
Sorry,
Um,
Devin.
I was just going to say that you've been around the cells long enough to know that there are what look like elemental runes keeping them locked shut. So maybe something that dispels magic, based on what you know of our ship, could handle that. That's up to you.
That's better than my suggestion, which was just to smite the tank until it broke.
You could
Little
still
less
also
subtle,
dimension
but-
door out, obviously, after you do it, which was the original plan. But I would suggest that if anybody knows a way to dispel magic, that from our ship that would work.
I was looking at prestidigitation, but I think that's an illusion. It wouldn't actually do it.
No, I wouldn't break the runes, as it were.
I do not have dispel magic.
Yeah, I don't know if paladins get that on their spell list normally.
What's the range on that? Can we fly our ship close enough? Dun, dun, dun.
Y'all don't know anything that's happening so far.
That's true.
Yeah, I know nothing. I'm only suggesting above table because the DM let me.
125 feet. 120 feet.
And they can't just be like wiped away, I'm assuming.
They are engraved and set magically. You know that it would not be quite that simple. If you want, you can try to make an Arcana check to think of what you can do to ruin them.
And you said they're in cells. It's not just a lock we'd have to break. Like it's a magically encased.
They are contained. Think of it almost like a propane tank, for lack of a better word, more than like a prison. It's not like bars that you can see through. These are things that can escape through a gap of 1 inch or smaller. They are slippery, so they're locked down pretty tight.
Got a 15 on Arcana check.
Barb, you'll get something for that 15, but Barb, why don't you try to roll one as well, as y'all are whispering and trying to come up with some tactics.
Arcana as well.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What's up?
18. Okay.
19.
You realize that these runes were likely written with using some type of spell component as a part of the ink. It is the ink itself is enriched and magical. If you could find a way to either remove a section of it or cover over it with something that would interfere, you might be able to make something like that happen. You could try to burst through the tanks. They do have hit points and AC, but it would not be quiet. Granted, you don't necessarily need it to be quiet, but you'll have to take out 3 of them. You know, if one was remaining, they could probably still stay up. Maybe not very agile, but would not be crashing.
Is our bomb in the bag?
In the bag of holding? Technically, yes.
Yen's got the big old barrel bomb thing.
Y'all got 5 of them, I think.
Eyebrows.
Like a
you can use
cream
action-
bomb?
Like a what bomb?
Like a cream that you would put balm on a sore muscle? Or bomb?
No.
Like
no,
explosion.
A battle brew bomb, to be specific. You can use an action to twist the sides of this keg and throw it at a point you can see within 20 feet of you. Splitting the keg open on impact sprays the area with liquor. Each creature within 15 feet of the point must make a dexterity saving throw, taking 2d8 poison damage on a failed swing or half as much on a successful one. The next time that a target would spray with the liquor takes fire damage within a minute, they take extra 2d8 fire damage as the liquor ignites. You'd have to find a way to ignite it, but that's not a bad idea.
Technically, they're fire elementals, so I think they would ignite it. But you might also kill them. And
Well,
while
they're
I do not know
contained
you're
in-
doing that, I can't stand for it.
Well, you know that the fire elementals will be immune to the fire damage. They might take the poison. Well, and really, they can't ignite it because they are contained by its very definition. But if y'all can find a way to spark that, you could probably get those to go off.
I mean, we're on a cannoneer deck. We can't just lay like a trace of gunpowder to put like all 5 bombs around it.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do, yeah.
Hey, gunpowder.
Yeah, I mean, they got the
You-
gunpowder. I just
So
don't
you
know how
place-
many we would need.
You place all 5 bombs at the base of the canisters. You run a line of gunpowder to and from the end, and you start to hear shouting above the deck. And you hear Captain Thorne's voice once again. What do you mean I called you up here? Get back below deck! And you gather you have very little time, perhaps one more round before you are met with new company again. How do you spark the gunpowder?
I feel like we're adventurers. We gotta have some flint and stone, huh? We're once again we're on the cannoneer deck. They don't have
You know
I
what,
mean,
Davos?
a
torch.
tinderbox, right?
Yeah, what's the things they put in the cannons? The little like long things that go doop.
Yeah, you do not see any present at the moment. I will say, Davos, do me a favor. Roll a, you know what? No.
Can Amber
As
do
the
it for
morning
me?
light comes through the eastern windows on the ship, through the mouths of the cannons, it strikes your amulet, the topaz, and it reflects onto the wall. And you realize that you might be able to use it to aim that to start the process off. Why don't we have you? You're a charisma-based spellcaster. Roll a charisma check for me.
All right. It's gonna be a 18.
18. As you line it up, you're waiting. You hear the people start to walk down the ship. You grab Barbara's hand. You're ready just to bail. And you hear as the crewman go, what is this? And then in that instance, you feel as the sun rises over the peak of the mountains and gets a perfect beam into the topaz. And with an instant, you see smoke and sparks running up this line. You grab Barbara's hand, you turn to face the ship outside the port window, and open up your dimension door. And even as you do, you are thrust through it, not by your own will, but by an explosion, as everyone on the Red Wing watches the Green Wing go up in flames. The entire rear of the ship explodes and begins to spiral down rapidly. The Green Dragon immediately takes the skies. The Wyverns on high alert all around. You see in the distance as other forces take note of this. You have kicked off this battle. But you are all back safe aboard the Red Wing, some 500 feet away. Presumably innocent. Fantastic. Excellent. You all continue your course, pressing on as fast as you possibly can to get to the Draakhorn. And
I
as
think
the
Barb is still invisible, by the way. I wouldn't be, but I think she is still.
Technically so. Very good point. As you are drawing in, the flurry of activity is met as these armies begin to see your troops approaching on the horizon from all directions. You are pressing forward with all your might and manage to get to the Draakhorn unmolested. I am going to shift us real quick.
Before Josh leaves, I would just pull the Drac ball out of the bag. Looking for this?
Store it somewhere safely. Thank you. Very good.
Witness him.
Excellent plays.
A quiet witness him from Goldbreath.
I'll tell you this.
As you-
I'm so invested in what's happening that I'm going to stay for an extra 15 minutes.
I love it. We'll try to make it worth your while. You might be the one blowing shit up anyway. As you all
Another cliffhanger in
approach-
15.
As you all approach the Draakhorn, after the ship explodes, you hear the Draakhorn begin to blow constantly. It had been bursts every few minutes, but now it is perpetual. All of you feel as if your head is splitting with the force of this, because you are closer to it than you have ever been. You look down and you see 2 large stone figures bearing this massive dragon's horn, probably some 20 feet, give or take, in length. And at the top of it, Josh, you recognize in particular, an air elemental, which seems to be feeding it with its everlasting breath to keep it constant. You also see 5 dragon-esque figures surrounding this altar. These you have seen once before, technically. Morningstar turned into one of these. These are Abashi. They are Tiamat's demonic servants. And the guardians, as it were, of the Draakhorn. Everyone, roll me an initiative.
Initiative, you say?
Initiative.
Par for the course.
24 for Barb.
If I have you.
Oh, did you bring
1-3 for Davos.
1-3? Heard. Josh, are you bringing U2 with you on this escapade, or?
U2 is definitely on the ship. At this point, he's got to come with us. I don't know if I would have, I don't know if I would drag him down above the Draakhorn, but if he's on the ship for sure.
Cool. Fantastic. As we kick off, as we begin this, you are all the Draakhorn itself is actually on a mountain ledge, so you are not some hundreds of feet above it. You're probably, I would say, about 40 feet above it, and perhaps only about 50 feet or so away vertically. As you approach, what is your tactic? How do you kick this off, Pandora?
Oh shit. Always first. Do we see, like, whereabouts are we coming in front? Like, which direction?
We'll say for the purposes of this map that you're coming in from the north.
While she
Technically, you're coming in
plans,
from.
can I ask you a question? What size are these squares? Are they 10 or 5 feet?
They're 5 feet squares.
Okay.
I'm just gonna drop y'all on the edge so y'all can get situated.
Pretty sure me and Yuan are about to twin fireball it.
You could twin fireball?
I'm about to say what? How much of your soul did you sell again?
Yeah, I'm not getting anywhere
That's valid.
close. I don't know. I mean, like, I am going to actually. I think what I'm going to do. I'm still invisible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do, honestly, is I'm gonna go ahead and come out hard with let me measure. Hold on. Where's my measuring tool? There it is.
Jeez, tell me you had to do that on purpose. I'm coming out hard and let me go get my ruler.
Yes. I
Coming out of
think
my cage and I've been doing top on.
just following. Okay, I think I'm gonna throw down my rain of arrows. I don't get to use that very often.
Ooh, yeah, what's your radius on that?
It's a 40-foot radius cylinder.
Yeah, you could get everybody in this area. Yeah, pop off, Queen. Is that a save or is that a hit for each? Probably a save.
Let me see. It just says cast. Let me see if I can hit it from the cast list. Let's see. Conjure, volley.
Yeah,
that's
you should
the
be
one.
able to. DC 17 dexterity. Okay. Excuse me while I roll for everything. Look at me. I'm Barbara. I make Joey do stuff. Actually, you're usually the last one to make me roll saving throws, so for that I must thank you. D&D Beyond is gonna be dumb. You know what? Uh, 17 you said? And 39, so we're gonna, just for easy math, we're gonna 40 and 20.
DC 7.
The black one passes, so he's only gonna take 20. The green one also passes, 20. The
Lame.
red one passes.
Lame.
Lame.
The blue one and the oh no, yeah, the blue one and the white one both fail. Wait, map. And both golems fail, but the air elemental passes. Fantastic. Barbara sends a volley of arrows. But they resist. Is this piercing damage?
No, it is force damage.
Force damage. That is great to know. Thank you. You guys watch as Barbara shoots an arrow up into the air. And as she does, it, oh, Barbara. You know what?
No, don't tell me that.
No. This
Don't
is good. You're invisible. This shot is going to ruin that. I'm gonna do something stupid, and I'm gonna allow you to roll sneak attack for this.
Hell yeah. How do you want me to roll a sneak attack?
However many d6 it is, I think it's 8d6 for you at this point. But look at the ability. You guys watch as this arrow shatters into hundreds of other arrows, and with the gravitational impact of meteors, just hurtle down and pepper this area, dealing a huge swath of damage as you make your approach. Absolutely horrifying. Black is bloodied. Red's still okay. He's pretty tanky. Yellow's on death's door.
I'm just here setting the mood. Don't mind me.
No, for real. Absolutely brutal opening move as pretty much all of these enemies take a hefty blow. I would love to pass it off for you, but it's not y'all's turn. It is mine, unfortunately.
I can hide again, right?
Certainly, yeah. Unless that spell uses your bonus action, you certainly can. Yeah, you're good.
I think it's just a regular action.
All right. As this happens, the enemy forces, the Abashi in particular, begin to take wing. I said earlier that y'all are 50 feet away. Funnily enough, you watch as the Black Abashi here moves behind this stone and sinks into it, and then arises on the side of your ship and comes around the edge. I think he's gonna go. We're just gonna do random. Josh, since he's doing Shadow Step, that seems thematic. You watch as this black figure appears above the deck and goes in for 2 swings at you. Oh, whoops. 3 swings, excuse me. 1 bite and 2 scimitars. Oh, I think only one of those hits. 19 hits a Yuan?
19 does hit a Yuan, but I'm gonna shield, I reckon.
Oh, very nice. No, yeah. He comes in with a flurry of blows, but you manage to block your way out of it. As that happens, the green one, he is not going to be able to make it as far as his shadow-stepping brother. However, he flies up to where he can see the top of the deck. And I think... Barbara's hiding. Davos, make a... No, we're going to say gold brands. I'm going to regret saying this, but make a wisdom saving throw for me.
22.
22, fantastic. You feel as this thing tries to dominate you, something you are very familiar with, and you shrug it off without issue. It snarls as it sees you, and soon its blue brother rises in the air to meet you. And it is going to... Ooh. You feel. Oh, I'm sorry. Hemisphere. Interesting. You watch as the green one does not, or excuse me, the blue one does not fly towards you, but flies to the Draakhorn. And as he waves a hand over him, a dome of energy, a wall of force, appears around the Draakhorn, protecting it from attack. As this happens, the red Abashi takes to the skies, and he is going to try to line all of you up. A 90-foot cone, y'all are 50 feet away. At 50 feet away, the area of effect would be 50 feet wide and reach 40 more feet, which I think is the length of your ship. We're pretty close. I need everyone to make a DC 18, it's not high, DC 18 dexterity saving throw.
Oh, it's not that high.
Not that high.
Oh my god, I rolled an 18.
Yeah, attaboy.
Best roll of my life.
25.
Fantastic. You watch, and I need to choose. He would not know certain things about y'all. I'm gonna roll a d6 real quick. Okay. You all watch as he rises up. He holds up a flail with 5 heads. One of them red, one of them black, blue, green, and black, blue, green, and white. And as he swings the flail, acid begins to spew from it, and he hurls it towards you. If you had less than an 18, you need to take 61 points of acid damage. If you did have an 18 or higher, you instead only take 30.
If you have evasion, you take nothing.
Yeah, there you go. It's always nice to have evasion. Fantastic. That brings us to Davos as we round through most of the Abashi.
Can I bonus action Light of Lathander and cast a spell in the same turn?
Yeah, Light of Lathander is not a spell, for sure.
Just double checking. Alright, so we got the green and the black up on the deck. I want to get close enough to where I can flash them.
Only the green is on deck right now.
Didn't the black one was able to hit
I'm
you
sorry.
on?
The black one shadow stepped up. He is up there. The green one is in the air, but he is not that close to you. He's still some 40 feet away. He just sort of flew straight up.
Okay. Whatever one I can hit, then. That's what I'm gonna do.
Go ahead and roll. The black would need to make a Constitution saving throw. Is that correct?
Yes. I think it's a 20 now. It's hard to do on the app.
No, yeah.
Where are we at? Jeez. DC 20 con save.
He rolled really well. He got a 17 on the die for a total of 25. So he's only going to take half damage. Go ahead and roll that.
8 D8 plus 4? No.
I think that's 8d8 plus 4.
That's something else. 5 D8.
That sounds more.
5 D8.
That sounds better.
Alright, let's see. For 20 damage.
Alright, half that's going to be 10. So, fantastic. Your light radiates off, and you see as he flinches, you have an opening. What do you do with your action?
I like to think that as I casted that, there's a beam of sunlight that rains down into the middle where the Draakhorn is as I cast Fireball.
Oh, now I will say, you did just see some type of barrier appear from the blue one. You can still do that, but I just want to make sure that Davos knows he saw that.
Yeah, as many people as I can hit, really.
Okay.
It's hard to tell.
As you hurl
It's going to be a
down-
DC 19 dex for 30 damage.
So, as the fireball goes, it makes contact sooner than you expect it before it hits the ground, and it actually radiates out over the dome before blasting back. You see that the Blue Abashi has cast a wall of force. Nothing can physically pass through the wall, and it is immune to all damage. It can't be dispelled. Well, I don't know if I should tell you all of that. But does not seem to have any effect on the dome within. Fantastic. Not necessarily for y'all, but you may choose to fly closer to it if you so do.
I wasn't able to hit the blue guy.
No, he's within a dome of magical energy that has it sort of bubbled up.
Okay, he's inside it too. All right.
Yeah. He flew closer to the Draakhorn and then popped it around them.
I would fly up to meet the green one, staying 10 feet away.
You know what?
And then who's up there?
Yeah. Or the black one's the one on deck. I'm sorry. I'm trying to multitask. This dome is actually a little bigger than it needs to be. Hang on. I'm trying to resize it, but it's being a butt. You know what? The Myrmidon and the blue one actually will still have to roll for that. Mostly because of that fucking the radius of it. Dexterity saving throw on his part. He has magical resistance, so he gets to make advantage. And then the Air Myrmidon. Oh, does a 19
on the
pass?
save. 19 meets.
Okay, so the Abashi passes. He's only going to take half damage. The Air Elemental does fail, though. What was your damage?
30.
Fantastic. That's 15 points of damage. The Abashi has to make a Constitution saving throw to maintain concentration. He does pass with a 19. Yuan, as we round to you, what do you choose to do?
Okay. He maintained concentration.
Yes, the Blue Abashi.
Is that what I heard?
Yes, sir.
Dang, my internet's blowing. It was the guy in the blue down here.
Yeah, this one down here. You got to draw in your circle for that. I hear you struggling, so I'm just going to remind everybody, this is the fight. It's going to be a long haul, so just, be mindful of that as you use your resources.
Yeah. I actually think I'm going to, I know we're not like down here, but if I could skirt that direction a little bit. I saw that guy cast a spell. I'm just going to see if I can firebolt him to break concentration.
Sure, yeah. The blue one, go ahead and roll the hit. 27 certainly hits, roll damage. Fireball, who got some
19.
pepper on it? Fantastic. So 19, that means he's going to make a DC 10 save. The Blue Abashi concentration saving throw. 19 was the damage. No, he's good with a 12. We round to, bonus action.
Second. I have to roll a d20 or a d10.
For Wheeler Well?
Yeah, it's a wheel. I can't help it, sorry.
Actions, bonus actions. Oh shoot,
You
I don't
technically
know.
didn't cast a spell with your action, so if you have a bonus action spell, you could do that. For what that's worth. But
I do have a few, but I don't know if I want to burn it right here. I don't know. Part of me just kind of feels like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to use another cantrip. I'm going to create a magic stone and launch it.
Good old reliable magic stone. Yeah, go ahead. Swing. What's the range on
rolled a
that?
19, so close. It is... Hold on, let's see. What is the range on this? 60 feet, but I have spell cyber, so
60. Okay, no, that'll be good. 35 certainly hits. God damn.
I'm gonna flavor it as, I don't know, thunder damage. I'm feeling spicy. Take
No,
that
yeah.
amount of thunder damage. 11.
11. That's gonna be, and it's gonna have to make another Constitution save. DC of 10. Ooh, that is a 6. You watch as you. It's funny. This fireball comes down and it looks up defiantly. You pepper it with a little more fire, and then as it turns back, just a rock in the center of its fucking forehead. And you watch as the dome of energy dissolves around the Draakhorn, and it snarls up at you. You may move closer if you desire. Arcanine, so round to you, my friend.
You're on mute, my friend.
So I was. And I'm like, right as the dome goes down. I love that song.
Yeah, you're about. I know it's kind of hard to map. You're about 50 feet away from the Draakhorn itself, at least.
Well, that's certainly doable. Here. There. Alright, flying speed 40. So right yeah. Let's see here. Just because fuck this Draakhorn. Actually, first off, I'm gonna hit 1 second. Alright. Right. Hate this interface sometimes.
Feel that though, honestly. Everyone wants to take a moment, if you haven't already, to make sure your hit point total is now reflected by your boost from Hero's Feast, and that you have your temp HP. I'm going to try to copy these tokens and take them with us, so make sure they're all good.
Since Ark's
Now
so
that the-
closest, can he have the thing, the talisman?
One more time.
What was it a talisman? Can Ark did you take the thing with him,
Yeah.
right? Took the thing with him, the bomb.
Talisman of Disjunction.
Yeah.
You can certainly say, yeah. I would allow that.
But
That
give me
is the whole. Yeah, it is an action to set it, and it takes 2 rounds before it goes,
Mm.
and then you still have to destroy the horn afterward.
So it takes 2 rounds, 12
Go
seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. I do have to dip. I told Devin my general plan for the foreseeable future, but we'll see how far you guys make it tonight.
Yeah, we'll probably stop here at 12:30. Thank you, my dude.
So, like, do I have to
be?
be any closer? Do I have to be any closer to it, or is it just different?
You know, it's a 100-foot radius, so you could activate it right here.
Okay. All right, so
think-
that's the case. Wait, no, continue. Sorry.
No, yeah, you're fine. I would say that you know that it's an amulet that fits within your hand. It is movable, for lack of a better word. So just now, just because you drop it somewhere, don't mean that it will necessarily stay there. But yeah,
That's
you can
okay.
certainly use your turn to activate it and arm it for this one.
Yeah, keeping that one. I'm gonna activate it with an action.
Mhm.
And then let's see here. Bonus action. Do smoke and cinders.
Oh, very nice. You watch as smoke exudes from Ark's armor as he soon is clouded in darkness. Fantastic. Movement action, bonus action, perfect. I'm going to just put a little circle on the map here so we know that the amulet has been placed. Look at this big old red color. Boop. As you end your turn, the white Abashi rushes up to you and attacks recklessly. Let me roll with advantage here for 1 claw, 1 bite, 1 longsword. One of those was a crit. Does a 25 hit an Arcanox with his raised AC?
25 meets, yeah.
Okay, so one hits, one crits, the third misses. So, damage for that. But you resist bludgeoning, slashing, piercing damage right now, don't you? Ooh.
I do, yeah.
In that case, you're only going to take 15 points. Oh, wait, but hang on, I thought you did crit. 18, 22, 35. You're going to take 17 points of damage as the Abashi rushes up to you and begins slashing away. Goldbrand, we round to you.
Oh boy, I'm uncertain. I really wanted to do a big old spell and really blast all them people, but I want to wait till that little thing there goes off, that talisman there goes off. So instead, I'm going to try to cover Ark's ass. I'm going to use my tablet on my chest, my star map. I use it to cast Guiding Bolt at this one here that just attacked Ark. Get off my frame.
Ooh, yeah, get him.
Here it is. 23 for 31 radiant damage.
Definitely hits. 31. Do you do it javelin style? How does it look?
I think this one is sort of Iron Man-y, like Davos has done. It comes out of his tablet on his chest, but instead of being like a thin beam, it's like this big, wide comet, almost like a mortar.
You watch as Goldbrand flexes his chest out, and this burst of blinding starlight shoots across and pierces through the Abashi. I'm even going to be generous. That kills him. I'm going to say that the
Size doesn't matter.
What?
The size of the beam doesn't matter.
I'm going to be generous and say that your advantage is going to transfer to the Air Myrmidon as this glowing heap, this smear where the Abashi once was, illuminates its sort of ethereal form. Fantastic. Bonus action?
It uses the use of wild shape to do so. We're gonna be moving for a minute. I'll go ahead and go to the archer and throw at this one here. It's closest and the lowest.
Sure. Yeah, get him.
Do actions, bonus actions. Come on, roll the thing. Roll the thing. 22 for 15 radiant damage.
22 hits, 15 hurt. Fantastic. You may choose to move closer if you so wish. It is the elemental's turn. The stone golems. One of them shirks his shoulder a bit, and you watch as the other golem takes on the full weight of the Draakhorn, struggling with it a little bit. In fact, I'm going to make him make a strength athletics check. Let's say this is a DC 18. 21. He bears the weight of that. And the other golem, the one who's just released it, is going to take a step towards you, Arcanox. He's going to come at you with a couple of slams. Y'all do this all the time? You know what? Fuck yeah. You watch as this stone golem raises up his arm, and Arcanox, Davos, and Goldbrand make a wisdom saving throw for me.
I'm not there on the ground, huh? I thought I was flying up to meet the green one.
You're flying. This is an area of effect. It's 3 targets you can see.
It's probably whole person.
I'm sorry, what was that? Deck save?
Wisdom.
Ooh, gross. Come on. Damn it, 7.
7. Arcanox and Goldbrand, both of you feel a stiffness start to take hold of you as he casts Flow. It's the same as the spell. You can't use reactions. Your speed is halved, and you can't make more than one attack in a turn. You can use an action or a bonus action, but not both. Go ahead and mark yourselves with a snail, if you wouldn't mind. Davos, I know you're AFK, so I will do that for you.
Arcanox and Goldbrand.
Arcadox and Davos were the ones who failed. I'm sorry if I said otherwise. That was I misspoke. I am gonna mark him as concentrating on them. The other one cannot do anything as it is still holding up the Draakhorn, and the Air Myrmidon is going to use his turn to continue to blow. As we round to the top of initiative, we're going to call it a night there. You feel the energy of this battle beginning to spike as all around you hear the clash of arms and armor and the scream of dragons all throughout this valley. We will pick up here next week. In the meantime, be good to one another, take care of yourselves, and keep rolling.